Hey guys, and welcome to the dating game with me, Troy Francis, and we'll get straight into it. A bloke has written an article called "I'm 30 and Single. How can I make women like me on dating apps?" Okay, this is an article that appeared about a week or so ago in the Times newspaper in the UK. So without further ado, let's have a look at it and let's try and diagnose what the problem is. So here we go. Here's the guy. His name is Sean Russell, and he has written this article. So, and these. So here's a couple of the pictures. We kick off with a couple of pictures of him on Tinder, sitting cross-legged outside a cafe, nursing a cappuccino, in this kind of slightly hipstery type outfit. And here on Bumble, with a small dog, again, nursing a cappuccino. Okay. And then, so he starts off describing a date. I arrive at the pub early and it's cold, so I go and find us a table. Which table, though? One near other people, but I don't want to be overheard. Then there's one in the corner, a bit out of the way, but that's weird. Pick one and sit down. I sit at a circular table with a candle and cross my legs and wait. Well, don't cross your legs. She'll be here at any minute. I use my phone as a mirror. My hair is okay, I suppose. I put the phone in my pocket and wait. Does it look like I'm waiting? Do people think I'm waiting? I get out my phone again, find something to scroll through. Then I spot Emma, not her real name, and see that she's more attractive than her profile. She smiles at me, and I don't know whether to stay seated or stand, but she's coming over, so I stand. Going for the hug, kiss on the cheek. Just don't shake her hand. That's weird. She sits down. I get her a wine and myself a Guinness and sit down opposite her. Okay, so what he's describing there is probably, what he goes through every time he goes on a date, which is this sort of massive introspection and overthinking of the whole situation. Okay. Which is no good, right? You don't want to be sitting there on the date, super nervous. He's got there early, which is, that's okay. I haven't got a real problem with that. But he's sitting there. He's worried about what other people think of him. Okay, he's worried about if the other people there are going to be thinking, "Oh, is this dude on his own?" Or sorry, I'm just pulling something up on my phone here. He is worried about, are other people going to think I'm alone? Are they going to think I'm going to be stood up? Are they, blah blah blah. He's too in his head, caring about what other random people in the bar who he's never going to see again, are going to think about him. That in itself is, you shouldn't have that mentality, right? As a modern guy, you should be grown up about this. Okay, he's 30 years old. He says it's an odd experience to go on a date you've arranged through an app. On the one hand, the pretense is removed. You know why you're there, and you can cut to the chase, so to speak. On the other hand, any hint of of chance is lost. Any sense of chase or anticipation is gone, and the person in front of you is instead reduced to a scorecard. Is she attractive? Is she funny? Is she intelligent? Do we share things in common? Does the talk flow? And perhaps most important, is there a spark? You have to make up your mind on all of those things in just a few hours. Well, I would argue, on the contrary, that actually the sense of the chase is still there. Because look, the reality is, just because you're on a date with her, it doesn't mean it's a done deal from her point of view, right? Because she probably goes on, many dates a week, and you're just one of them. And the key thing really is, are you going to spark her interest or not? And the other thing about all of this is he's sitting there as if this is sort of a deus ex machina kind of thing where let's see what happens, okay? Whereas actually, as the guy, unfortunately, it's incumbent upon you to make these things happen. So does the talk flow? Well, it's your job as the man to ensure that the talk does flow, okay, to the best of your ability. Is there a spark? Well, it's your job when you go on the date to do everything you can to ignite that spark between you, all right? Chase and anticipation. Well, it's your job as the man to bring those things into it. Okay. It's like, oh, you're looking at me like a piece of meat. I'm not that easy, Don't think just after one date you can get me home. That kind of thing, right? Bringing bits of humor into it. I mean, that's a little bit cheesy, but you know what I'm saying? It's about it's incumbent upon you, and that's what I think this generation of men just don't realize. Okay. It's not just this chance thing where you turn up and sit there and kind of just hope for the best. You want to go in with a strategy, and the strategy is, I want to create a spark with this woman, so she's more likely to either want to be intimate with me today, or she's going to want to see me again on another occasion. Okay. Also, as well, I mean, look, we got to be honest. I mean, this guy, the way that he's presenting himself, he's obviously not a bad looking guy. his clothing, I would suggest, is not doing him any favors here. Now, I'm not saying everyone has to go around wearing a suit. I'm not saying everyone has to wear like blazers and pocket squares and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, this is like super, super, super normcore stuff. I mean, look at this. You know, these sort of um nondescript jeans, white t-shirt. I mean, the jacket, yeah, it's all right, you know, whatever. It's if you live in London, this is very like Hoxton-y type look. It's probably in New York, like a kind of a Brooklyn type look. It's very soy. It's very kind of. It's not really saying anything, right? There's nothing really here that's been communicated about this guy's personality. I mean, he's got the hoodie on, the tech boy hoodie on, chinos. Um, you know, the trainers, and then again, he's got this jacket here. It's just all a bit. It's like clothes need to make a statement. Okay, it's not about necessarily peacocking. I was talking about this just on a video I did regarding Mystery and the interview he did with Fresh and Fit. Mystery used to talk about peacocking, going out wearing kind of crazy clothes to attract attention to yourself. It's not necessarily about that, but you want to be fucking stylish, okay? And you want the clothes that you wear to make a statement about you. None of this stuff says anything to me about this guy other than I probably live in a fairly artsy part of town. I'm probably doing a fairly artsy sort of a job, and I'm a bit of a soy boy. That's all it's fucking saying. And that's all it's saying to any woman who's looking at this as well. Okay. His haircut is not great. I don't think it's particularly flattering to his face shape. And also, he doesn't look like a strong masculine guy. Now, once again, you know, this isn't, you don't have to be Jason Statham, okay? You don't have to be Vin Diesel, right? It's not about inhabiting some kind of stereotype of masculinity that doesn't suit you. But there is something very baby faced about this dude, okay? There's no sense of, we talk about edge, okay, in our content. We talk about having that sort of primal masculine edge, that kind of James Bond like sort of sense of mystery about you, that thing she can't quite figure out. There's a sort of sense of steel behind the smile, so on and so forth. None of that is being conveyed in these photographs, okay? I mean, looking at this, I'm not surprised, to be quite frank, that he's not getting any hits on the dating apps. And he talks about this as we go down into the article. He talks about at the age of 30, I find myself single once again. He's not that bothered. Okay, here's another picture of him in a kind of cutesy kind of soy bakery somewhere or delicatessen somewhere. It's all a bit. I mean, what it says, I got 0 matches for about a week and then 1 match and then 0 for the next 2 weeks. Well, I mean, but again, I mean, what is this photograph communicating? I live in you know, a shishi sort of gentrified area of town. I'm a bit of a normcore guy. I haven't got a lot going on. And that's it, right? You know, I go to bakeries I go on the weekend. I mean, it's just like, you know, I sign up to 3 apps: Hinge, Tinder, and Bumble. I've been on Tinder once before, in between Love 1 and Love 2. He talks about his 2 relationships. Around the time around the time Tinder first became popular, I found the whole thing somewhat humiliating. There's nothing like starting your day by waking up and looking at your phone to see that despite the thousands and thousands of women signed up, that yet again you have no matches. I would swipe left, right, and left, and every now and again a woman would appear who I thought was beautiful and she seemed to share my interests. So I would hold my breath, swipe right, and hope it's a match. The message would pop up, but it never did. Okay. According to Roast dating from Tinder suggests that 52% of men get less than 1 match a day, and the chance of a straight man matching is 2.8%. Straight women, 35%. Okay? Just think about that for a second. All right? So, this data from Tinder suggests 52% of men get less than 1 match per day. Okay? And and that's just a match. All right? And the chance of a straight man matching is 2.8%. Again, for a straight woman, the chance of matching is 35%. There's a stark difference. If any stat underlined what's going on in the dating marketplace right now, it's that, okay? I mentioned this statistic to one of my single friends, Richard. That's an insane difference, he says. And that's just the matching. If you take into the account we have 0 game, then we're doomed. Well, absolutely. And that's why these guys should be watching this channel. Now, here's another fucking picture. Okay, he's with the dog. Comically, I don't mean to laugh, but it says on Bumble, his matches are so unsuccessful that at one point it offers Sean Russell a man. Okay, Kind of unfortunate, slightly humorous. So what is this show? Well, he's a homebody. Again, he's wearing these kind of nondescript jeans, ill-fitting shirt, t-shirt underneath, not a great haircut. He looks kind of a bit weedy. There's no th- there's no masculinity really being displayed here. There's no edge. There's no drama. There's no sense of anything. He just looks like a very nice, very ordinary guy who likes animals, who's got a couple of plants, who visits his mum every weekend. Like there's nothing here that's really setting a woman's world on fire, is there? I mean, and I was saying to my friend the other day, it's in a way it's crazy, right? Because we are beset with images of what women find attractive. All right, any fucking mainstream movie. All right, look at James Bond. Look at the Marvel movies. Look at I don't know, Cillian Murphy, Peaky Blinders. Right, we are inundated with examples of the kinds of men that women find hot. But why do so few men even attempt to get anywhere near to what those dudes look like in terms of the way they dress, in terms of the way their physique is, or in terms of the way they present themselves in general? Why are we not learning the very, very fucking obvious lessons that the culture is teaching us every single day? Okay, every single day I walk out of the house, I'll see posters for movies, I'll see posters for bands. Okay, I'll see posters for clothing, but guys, male models. All of this stuff is telling me what women find attractive because it's being put out there into the commercial arena primarily in order to attract women who are the biggest consumers. Okay, this information is not hidden. You don't have to watch Red Pill podcast to understand this stuff. You don't have to be an Andrew Tate fan. It's all out there anyway. Okay, so why are people like this guy not even like the problem with people like this guy is he doesn't even understand what his problem is, okay? And the first thing that you need to do in order to solve any problem is to at least have an understanding of where you should be heading. And I don't believe that this guy does. Okay, so then he sets up a new profile and looks at some good photos. He gets some advice from a female friend, which is, maybe not the worst thing in the world. I mean, I know people say you don't ask a fish how to be a fisherman, and that's somewhat true. But I mean, I think maybe getting a female opinion on some photos is probably not the worst thing. Although the pictures that she then chooses, because apparently she chose one of these, where he's holding this massive fucking bottle of wine. I mean, again, nondescript, super normcore, boring ass fucking outfit, not a great haircut. Because he's holding such a huge bottle of wine, it makes him look small. It makes him look probably shorter than he is, which is not great either. Okay, again, not really doing him any favors. I mean, you could say there's some humor there, I suppose. That's about it. um, okay. You may have read my colleague Anna Skelly's piece on what it was like using a dating app for the first time, which is nowhere near a level playing field. Within an hour, okay, this woman had 7,000 likes on Tinder. Me, this guy, 35. And it stays at that number for about 3 weeks. Okay. He's got 35 likes. She gets 7,000 likes on Tinder within an hour. He gets 35. And then it stays like that for 3 weeks. But likes aren't matches. I get 0 matches for 1 week, then 1 match, and then 0 for the next 2. That one match messages him, "You have a lovely smile." I show my mate Dan. What the hell am I supposed to say to that? I say, "Thank you," he offers, and we laugh. "Thanks, so do you," he says to her. And I never hear from her again. On Bumble, he gets 3 matches, 2 of which do not speak to him within the allotted 24 hours and they disappear. The other writes, "What's the one thing you've never done that you'd like to do?" He replies, "I'd say scuba diving." He never hears from her again. Bumble is so unsuccessful that at one point it offers me a man. Geez, I think I've swiped through all the women already. Okay. He gets this match with this girl, Emma. Okay, on Hinge, he likes her. They go back and forth. There's a funny video on her profile that makes me laugh. She seems nice. She seems like good. She likes good food and wine. She lives nearby. She's my age. I don't get a reply for about a week. I've almost forgotten about her by the time she does message back. And it's another 2 days before I get a reply again. These chats forever. I say to my housemate, Ima, who met her boyfriend on Hinge, I message them and I don't hear for days. It's probably because she has loads of matches, she says. She's just working down the list. And therein lies the truth, of course. These women are inundated, okay? And this guy is getting 35 matches in 3 weeks, whereas one woman's getting 7,000 matches or likes within an hour. I mean, it's just fucking night and day, okay? And look, partly, And he goes out with, of course, he goes out with Henry Dalston. Again, hipster area. He's one of these kind of hipster dudes. He works in journalism. He's in an arty profession. So he goes on another date with somebody else via Hinge. They're in a pub in Hackney and they get drinks and sit opposite each other at a tall table. Well, that's a mistake because you want to be sitting next to her. Okay. The pub is better this time. It's louder and warmer and there's more of a buzz. All right. Well, that's okay. Like, it's good to have a little bit of some stuff happening around you. Okay, she's American. And when she finds out I'm a journalist, we quickly get onto politics. I've always been drawn to America, so I ask her about that. There is more flow, at least at first. But when she gets her phone out to show me a place on Google Maps, I see she has marked up a lot of nearby locations with a heart. Those are date ideas, she says. And here we are again. The idea is a date as something to work for. Multiple apps, multiple dates, multiple places, one after the other until you find something. We carry on chatting and get a couple more drinks. But at some point in the evening, the conversation turns into an interview again. Do you have any siblings? What do you want to do with your life? Necessary questions, no doubt. But in this context, it seems as if we are searching for things to say rather than caring about the answers. I start looking forward to leaving. Okay. So in this instance, he's getting fucking bored with this. Okay. He says, I wonder what would happen if I met either of these women in different circumstances, how things would go. If I were at a party and bumped into them, could we have a long, happy life together? Probably not, but the feeling lingers that rather than aid dating, these apps kill any chance of anything happening. Okay. What of all those women I swiped left and right on, the ones I didn't match with? Had we met in real life at a mutual friend's party? Would we have hit it off? Maybe not the first time, but what about the second time we bump into each other or the third? Now, in this, I think he's correct because the truth of the matter is, and this is why we always push cold approach or meeting people in real life as being something you absolutely fucking should do. Okay. Because it gets round all of this nonsense. Okay. If it's like your chance of matching is 2.8% compared to a woman's is 35%, then the odds are massively, massively stacked against you already. Okay. So yeah, for sure, you can be on the apps. It doesn't, if you're just doing a little bit of swiping in the background, no problem. But you don't want to rely on that as your main thing. Okay. What you want to rely on as your main thing is actually getting out there and starting conversations with people. Now, what about this picture of him? I mean, given the framing of the picture, this is a little bit cooler, perhaps. But I mean, still, it's the same sort of normcore kind of a kind of an outfit. Again, it's just not setting the world on fire. The apps seem laborious and false to me. After years of being told to be yourself, the apps forced me to change myself, to add a dog, to remove my bike. So he feels like the apps are making him become somebody different that he doesn't necessarily want to be in order to get the dates. And there's something to be said for that. It talks a bit about how his parents met. Okay, his dad says, it used to be different. You go to the Friday disco, try to make eye contact with someone. If she smiled, you'd ask her to dance. There'd be Donny Osborne and David Cassidy and Mark Bolan playing, and then go to the cinema or something like that for a date. It doesn't happen like that anymore. No, he says, things seem more innocent then. So how did you meet mum? I asked. I was working with your grandma at one of my first jobs. She showed me a picture of her daughter. And I thought, wow. And then we were introduced to the party. She seemed very shy, so nothing came of it. We kept meeting each other at parties. And my sister told me, Christine likes you. Then one day it just clicked. Now we've been married for nearly 45 years. I mean, it just seems like a different world, doesn't it? It is a different world. Okay. But then he says, I know many people who have met their partners through one app or another, and they're very happy. That's why I was curious. I know they can work, and I hope they would work for me. It was nice to meet these women, but it is not what I'm looking for. At least for now, I'm happy of being single, and I hope one day I'll sit on a train and a beautiful woman will sit next to me and we'll get chatting, or I'll be in Waterstones and we'll reach for the same book at the same time, and then it all begins again. Okay, well, it's very nice, kind of romantic idea. As I say, I think what's the main problem here? I think, look, yes, the apps are massively set against you if you're a guy. That is true. However, if these are your fucking main pictures, then to be quite frank, it's not surprising that there aren't women queuing up wanting to fuck you because it's just not. It I can't think of any planet, and I say this with all due respect to Sean Russell. I'm sure he's a lovely guy, but I can't think of on any planet where either of these pictures is going to set a girl on fire and she's going to be like, oh my God, this guy is just amazing. I want him to take me now. Okay. And again, as I said before, it's not like we are short in the culture of examples of what attractive men look like, right? We kind of fucking know the sorts of men that women go for. So why are we not, as men, trying to look more like that, or trying to present ourselves as more like that, rather than going for this super I'm just a really normal nice guy look? Okay, again, look at this one. Just yeah, it's just not saying anything. This one in the nice Chi deli or whatever it is in Hoxton somewhere, with the dog. It's too nice guy. It's too mediocre. It's too boring. It's too normcore. There's not much personality coming through here. There's not much thrill. There's not much excitement. There's not much of anything really. There's not much emotion. Okay, that's coming through these pictures. And remember, dating ultimately is about emotion. Now, beyond that, when he is getting the dates and he is finally getting the woman to come out with him, I from what he's saying, I suspect that the conversations are very back and forth. They're very interview like. I suspect he's not leading those conversations. I suspect he is allowing them to go off in directions that are a bit fucking boring. Okay. And they're not getting her interested. They're not getting her excited. They're not getting her warmed up or, into him or interested in seeing him again. I suspect that there's no sexual undercurrent to it. There's no tension. He's not creating any tension. He doesn't know the right things to be doing. He's probably not escalating. He's probably not, saying, oh, why don't we go somewhere else? Or my place is over there. Why don't we just go and chill for a bit? Or anything like. He's not doing any of that shit at all. Okay. So, with the best will in the world, yes, you can say the dating arena is difficult for men. But if you're also shooting yourself in the foot at every fucking given opportunity, then you can't entirely blame the prevailing conditions around you. You have to take some responsibility on yourself, right? I would say for this guy, he needs to get a fashion makeover, or he needs to think about the way he's presenting himself. He needs to radically redo these photographs. Okay, he needs to think about how he can present himself in a way that is more appealing to the fantasies that women have. Okay, rather than just being, hey, I'm a nice guy. I'm a decent bloke or whatever. What fantasies do women have? Okay, how can I start to try and inhabit those somewhat in the photos that I'm putting out? I suspect that he needs to be more polarizing when he goes on these dates. I think he needs to bring some more excitement into his chat. I think he needs to learn about sexual tension. I suspect his eye contact's very good. Is there any sense of touch? He's kind of nervous about whether to shake hands with her or whether to go for a kiss on the cheek or any of that stuff. He needs to lose that nervousness. There's so much work to be done here. Once again, it's not that this guy's unattractive. He's obviously intelligent. He's accomplished, everything else. But he's just dropping the ball at every given fucking opportunity, okay? And this is what men are doing out there consistently, okay? And like it or not, we have to up our game as guys, because it is tough out there, right? We cannot get away with just putting out a few half-assed pictures, and kind of just hoping it's going to fall into our lap. It just isn't like that. We need to take control of this part of the process to the extent that we can. And that's not to say, obviously, you can't make every woman like you. That's not possible. But you can certainly do things to make it more likely that there's going to be a spark when you guys interact and when you finally meet. So I would also recommend to this guy to actually get out there, be more social. I don't know what his social life's like, but be more social and get out there and actually start meeting people in real life as well, and augmenting what he's doing on the dating apps with that, okay? And I don't just mean social gatherings or going to the pub with his friends. I mean, if you're in the coffee shop on a Saturday, or, you're walking down the high street in Shoreditch, or you're at the train station, or you're, in the library or whatever, you see somebody attractive, you go up, you start a conversation with a view to getting their phone number, to setting up a date, okay? And you move forward through that process, and you're doing that consistently, okay? That's how you start to break out of this stuff. So much to work on here, so much to think about, so much to talk about. The dating market is a quagmire of hellish nonsense, and, it isn't really fair on men. Men have a very tough time of it, women too, for different reasons. But there are things we can do to help ourselves, and that's what this channel is all about. So, hope you enjoyed the video. Please give me a like on the way out. Please write any comments that you have down below. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notifications bell, and I'll see you guys again very soon. Bye-bye.